And what about his career to date? Here's a few of the highlights, Gary Mason, that we'll talk over here. The thing about him, really, Gary, is that he established himself as a genuine big puncher early in his career, and people were wary of him then, weren't they?
Yes, well, you've got guys like this, Terry Armstrong here, he's knocked out, and Mark Young here again, he's knocked out, and they're the regular guys to fight on the way up.
And he was on the way up, wasn't he, very much?
Oh, yeah, definitely so. And he was doing all things very well, but then come along somebody like Evander Holyfield moving up. Here we're seeing Evander Holyfield put under pressure, but Alex Stewart did give a good account of himself. He had Evander Holyfield in trouble in the earlier rounds himself, but I think Evander Holyfield must just wore him down. We know how tough Evander Holyfield is.
But that was an excellent fight, wasn't it?
Oh, that was
Stewart should be proud of himself.
Yes, oh, classic. He's battled. He's had very good fights with all the good fighters he's fought.
Well, an even better one ahead. That fight stopped on cuts, incidentally, as you're probably aware. July '91, he went on to have this war with Michael Moore, and this was a thrilling display once more, and Stewart's credibility enhanced again.
A tremendous left hand from Moore. Crashes against Stewart's jaw. A body shot from Moore. A left to the midsection. And back against the ropes he goes for no apparent reason, and takes a right hand from Stewart. That rocked him. That definitely rocked Moore. Stewart trying to rip the uppercut inside. Both fighters exchanging bombs. The left hand misses. Moore throws a left to the midsection. The blood now flowing down Stewart's face. He appears to be cut over both eyes. A combination from Stewart. Moore, oh, a combination. And down goes Stewart. He took a wicked combination of shots. With the blood now streaming down his face, he's up, and the fight is called.
So he's been in with several of the top men. He lost to Mike Tyson, Moore a second time, George Foreman, after a terrible start in that fight. He just seems to be losing to all the very top men, and that's what's held him back down the years. Is that how you read his career?
Yes, he's just been unfortunate. Some of the times, when you get that step where the fight would make a difference, he just seems to have kept falling over.
You know him quite well, don't you?
Yes, I've trained with him in Florida.
He seems to be a little like you in terms of where his career is right now. What do you think about that?
Well, no, I'll have to consider it a different way. I haven't had the opportunities presented to me yet.
All right,
he
I'll
has
take
had the opportunities presented.
He has had the opportunities, he hasn't taken them. He feels he can still earn another opportunity. What would you be saying to him?
Well, if you consider the likes of all the other people in the heavyweight division, Frank is the most recent example, there is no reason for him to not think what he's thinking.
Well, let's find out how Stewart's been going on the comeback trail after that second defeat just over a year ago against Evander Holyfield. He had one fight since then. That was against the journeyman Derek Roddy. And now for Tyrone Evans. He's a big, strong fighter, a late starter in the pro ranks, but potentially quite a dangerous opponent for Stewart. Let's see the action.
Well, is that a nice picture? That's what you've got across the border in Arizona. And, of course, the river separating and the plains. The airport, by the way, is just a short cab right away. As you take a good look at Tyrone Ty Evans stepping in, a great football player as a tight end at Kent State. Also played basketball. Their most valuable player for Kent State had a couple of offers to play in Europe in basketball. Was a free agent signee of Denver. In pro football, got an early season injury, was not able to pursue his career. Already has a great family, and I tell you what, if you ever go out, you'd want this guy to go with you with his two sons. One is 6'3", weighs 205. The other 6'1", weighs 201. They're both inside linebackers for the high school football team, and I'd make a pretty good trio to go out with, that's for sure. And here comes Alex Stewart. Stewart's kind of carrying this warming up just a little too far, I think, as he still has his robe on and is coming to the ring. Alex Stewart fighting out of London, England right now. 31 years of age, 33-5, with 33 of those wins, all by knockout. So again, as we pointed, 102 ringside, about 110 in the ring, and as Tom Lundy, our producer out in the truck, said, I believe it's a little warmer than that, Tommy. I believe it may be about 150 in that robe. I'm not sure. As he'll feel that off when we get ready. If that's not enough, he's got Got another towel as well. Let's get the introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, the matchmaker for the next event of the day is Mr. Bill Benton. The officials assigned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission are the judges will be Dave Moretti, Lou Tabbitt, and Dick Houck. Your referee, once again, is Toby Gibson. This is the main event of the evening, featuring 8 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. Introducing, in the blue corner, fighting out of Kent, Ohio, weighing in at 283 pounds, with a professional record of 7 wins, 2 defeats with 4 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Tyrone Evans. And in the red corner, from London, England, he weighed in at 239 pounds. His professional record consists of 33 wins, 5 defeats, with 33 KOs. Introducing Alex, the Destroyer, Stewart.
Okay, Jim, I'll give you your instructions prior to this fight. Give me a clean fight. Good luck.
And a short and sweet for Toby Gibson, the third man in the ring. Sam Smith, Bob Spagnola getting ready for the call of this. The Destroyer, Alex Stewart, against the big man, Ty Evans. And this is round 1. Height advantage certainly to Evans at 6'7", 283. 6'2" for Stewart. Boxing skills and talent certainly rest with that of Alex Stewart right now.
Well, certainly the experience does, but Tyrone Evans is a very good athlete, and athleticism is very important in the sport of boxing. He certainly got the physical package. He's in with a very experienced fighter that's only ever lost to guys that are either current or former heavyweight champions of the world. So he's in tough today, but these are heavyweights, and funny things have a way of happening sometimes.
Stewart, of course, fighting for Jamaica in 1984 in the Olympics in Los Angeles. Made it to the quarterfinals. Had captured the Golden Gloves Championship in New York in 85-86 before turning pro. And as Bob pointed out, has fought a who's who as far as the loss column is concerned. Losing twice to Evander Holyfield. That in the 25th fight of his career after winning his first 24 by a knockout, which, by the way, tied an all-time record by Mac Foster for consecutive knockout wins to begin a career. Right. He goes right on top of Evans here.
The big Marine from California, Mac Foster, but, his career was pretty much over with after that Jerry Quarry let the air out of his balloon. But Alex Stewart has shown himself to be a solid contender, and a nice combination by Evans there. You look at Alex and you say, oh, the Destroyer, he's got all the experience and everything, but he's never seen this guy. He's taken the fight on short notice, and, that can be as much a disadvantage to him as anything else. He likes to be prepared. He's a very professional guy with Georgie Benton working in his corner, but this is the kind of activity, back-to-back fights over a 60-day period of time. That's just what the doctor ordered for a guy like Alex Stewart. Get him back, get his confidence, and working with Georgie Benton, working together, and, go in progressively tougher matches, work out all the kinks, and then try to get a contender or another shot at the title.
Alex Stewart, born in London, England, takes some pretty good punches there from Evans. As a teenager, moved to Jamaica, then moved back to London, also fought out of New York, so he has had a whirlwind growing up process and seen a lot of different talents all over the world. And he, too, was a little bit in marvel of the speaking abilities of the man that won earlier. And Gary Mason at our press conference yesterday, as Mason literally took over things, as he tried to on your interview today, Bob.
I'm not so sure he didn't succeed. I wouldn't want him to be 2-0 today with 2 knockouts.
You can see Evans fighting as we near the end of round 1 of a scheduled 10-round fight. Well, if you pick up a book and you look at the first chapter and it gets your interest, and quickly you go to the last chapter, that was just about what might have been a dichotomy of round number 1. Evans Stewart got your attention at the first of the first round, and then Evans just completely took over at the end. Looking at these two guys, and of course you can see 31 to 30 the age, the great height advantage there by Evans, along with the size. And look at that reach, 83 to 79 for Evans. 3 knockdown rule will be in effect. No standing 8. 10-point must system of the 3 judges. Only Toby Gibson can stop this fight, and you can be saved by the bell only in the last round. End of the round. This is after Stewart had fought a pretty good fight, but in that first round, here comes Evans back.
Evans is, really for being inexperienced, and you can't say enough about that because experience is everything. It seemed like at the end of that first round, he got some confidence, and he's ready to go.
Round 2 of a scheduled 10-rounder on our heavyweight explosion, our main event. Alex Stewart, the destroyer, on the left, and Ty Evans out of Kent, Ohio, his challenger in the black. And I tell you what, Evans is throwing some pretty good loaded punches. Stewart is slipping in that left jab and kind of punctuating, but Evans is throwing some power here.
Alex Stewart, he's in, here he's got everything to lose and nothing to gain in this fight. It's a difficult thing for him, but he's got to, he knows what he's got to do. He's got to go out there and take on this big horse and ride him. And there he's working, using his experience, works a nice double hook to the head and then down to the body. And he's got to get this big guy out into the deep water where he's never been before.
Well, looking at Evans, he has never been by 6 rounds, so if he should go into the latter rounds after round number 6, it would be 4 in round 4. And again, just as we pointed out at the first fight, the people at ringside and those around the press conference, how long will we get out of this fight? Nobody really had a consensus of how long.
Well, with heavyweights, it's hard to predict anything, but here we can see Evans opening up. He's just fighting in spurts, whereas Alex is pacing himself throughout the whole round. But one of those spurts can get the job done with a guy this big.
By the way, we made mention of Stewart losing twice to Holyfield, and that 25th fight of his career coming in November of '89, ending a 24 straight knockout streak that he had going. He also lost to Holyfield in 1993, lost a 12-round decision. Was knocked out by Tyson in the first round in 90, Michael Moore in the 4th round in 91, and lost a 10-round decision to George Foreman in 92. He called that, Bob, probably his most disappointing loss of them all.
Well, it really was. He did a tremendous job. He was hurt early with Foreman, came back magnificently, and it would have been a huge win for him. But George, being the granddaddy, everybody was looking at it from his vantage point, and he won a close decision that was roundly booed. The thing you got to say about Alex, Stewart, he's in there. He's certainly they said yesterday at the press conference he wasn't rated, but that's only because he needed a little activity to get right back into the picture, and that's the direction that he's working himself in.
You can see Stewart starting to explode a little bit more on his punches. Kind of just accelerating as he challenges to get upstairs to Big Ty Evans.
Alex has never been a real fast starter. He works his way in on guys. He wears them down. He's very physically strong. But, strength is a thing that he can't just rely on with this big Tyrone Evans ahead of him, because Tyrone's got a little strength going for him, too.
Good second round by both fighters in our heavyweight explosion. And they'll get ready for the third in a moment. Big Ty Evans almost blocks the sun as he heads to his corner to our right, 6'7", 283 pounds.
Which would make him a real popular guy around here.
He certainly would. He gets my vote for MVP, that's for sure.
But, going back to what you were saying in the last round, Sam, about the loss, Stewart had 24-0, 24 knockouts, and he fought Evander Holyfield. Even though he was stopped in that fight, it was probably the single more than all those 24 knockouts he had to really establish him as a legitimate contender. He was in a war with Holyfield. He wobbled the future champion several times and really gave an excellent performance before he was stopped on 2 very bad cuts that he'd sustained earlier in the bout.
And by the way, was stopped in the 8th round.
When he punches, you catch the punch, then you punch back. But don't hold him.
Well, you're talking about some great experience in George Benton working that corner with Alex Stewart today.
And Al Gavin on the cuts.
And Alex Stewart fighting against Big Ty Evans. Couple of solid rounds by what he hopes to be a future champion in Alex Stewart. Certainly that record of 33-5 would bode well for him to get his fair shot at it down the road. And matter of fact, he and Gary Mason, even Ray Ennis, who was scheduled to be on the program but will not. He'll be with us sometime in October. But all forecasts, they would probably may get a title shot before the end of 95, Bob, and I got to buy that, I think.
I mean, between he and Mason, seems like one of them should.
Ty Evans going to prove to be a pretty tough customer for Stewart here today, I think.
Work down there. Work down there. Work down there. Bring it up.
They want Alex to work underneath there and not wrestle with Evans.
Come on.
Even Toby Gibson, the referee, encouraging the fight on. Neither one of these fighters overly particularly worrisome about the weather. Asked both of them if they'd arrive for any significant time. Certainly Evans took it on very late notice. He only arrived yesterday. Stewart got here only a day before, so neither one of them really concerned about it. I kind of laughed when Alex Stewart, I said, how about the weather and where you been training? He said, well, I've been in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is like night and day from Laughlin, Nevada. Trust me.
There aren't too many places like day and day with Laughlin. Tyrone's, seems a little bit concerned about his setting too hard of a pace. He fights in spurts. They told Alex Stewart in his corner, take what he gives you, and that's just what he's trying to do. If he's going to hang on your head, then work down on his body.
Good combination right up the middle by Stewart. Evans, you can see, trying to hang on because he was stunned a bit with that. You have to admire a guy like Evans coming in, late notice, taking it against certainly a contender for the heavyweight title in not so distant future. But a guy that has to work his normal 8-hour day, works for the Ohio Press back in his hometown of Kent, Ohio, putting out school books, then works in the gym, trying to keep himself fit. And basically works as his own trainer-manager, which again is a kind of a no-no in this business if you hope to go anywhere with your boxing. But you got to admire him. He's here giving his best here in the third round.
Oh, he really is, and it's inexperience that he's paying here. Just his size and strength gave Stewart some trouble early on in the fight, but Alex is taking control with, his determination. And he's doing just that, taking what he's giving him, working downstairs, and then bringing it up.
Well, Stewart had a pretty solid third round, finishes with a flurry even more if the judges had any doubt in their mind. Got to put that little punctuation mark on it, by the way. By the way, while we've got a moment in between rounds, let me mention that Bob Spagnuolo, the manager of the bantamweight champion of the IBF, that is Orlando Canizales, and we'll be seeing him back in action. We'll be talking a little more about that as the future fights. It'll be good to see Orlando back in the ring and fighting again next month, I think.
Yeah, I'm certainly excited about it. Orlando's been a great champion over a period of a lot of years, and I think history will look very favorably at his accomplishments.
Was outstanding young man as well. Third round action, Stewart and Evans. I think this is where Stewart pretty well started to get that combination. You see him kind of playing. Boy, a nice uppercut. May have just slipped, but the left hook really got him.
He just touching him with that jab and then coming with his power.
So solid round by Stewart as we go to the fourth round. Well, with the riverboat sounding off in the background on the Colorado River, we welcome you to Laughlin, Nevada for the fourth round of our heavyweight explosion main event. The destroyer, Alex Stewart, 28 of his 33 knockouts coming inside the fourth rounds. And again, we are moving to the fourth round right now. He has had 5 fourth-round knockouts, and first round has been one of his most productive with 9. So Evans, the big guy who's trying to fight on with a pretty heavy-handed left hook of his own, is trying to do some damage of his own here in the fourth round. But Alex Stewart, the destroyer, definitely the favorite coming to this fight today.
Tyrone Evans just doesn't know how to use his own strength, his own leverage. He got started there well in the first round with a couple of power jabs, but Alex knows how to take something off those punches.
By the way, you talk about a guy that works well against Tyrone Evans, again 6'7", 283 pounds. His only other loss, in addition to a loss to Craig Payne in his last outing, which, by the way, was April of last year. He's been out 17 months. Came against Buster Mathis. He lost in 6 rounds to Buster. We know how hard Buster works from the time the opening bell to the very end of the fight.
And that was the thing of styles. You got big, strong, and powerful, and, you know, smaller and quick and smart.
Box it out. Let's go.
But Tyrone's got to get you on the outside to hurt you with something, and Buster would have none of that.
Alex Stewart kind of knocking himself off balance just as he almost fell into Evans. Evans threw a pretty good right hand. It caught Stewart on the shoulder. Tell you what, it is not a place for the timid right now as these big guys are landing some shots.
And Alex is nicely pulling his head out and looping that looping right hand up onto the jaw of Tyrone Evans, and that's the punch that he's looking for to really do damage in this fight. Come in with that jab and then loop that right hand over the top.
You know, I was interested to find out also that Lennox Lewis at one time brought this big guy in to spar with him. Evans to spar with Lennox Lewis. I thought it was rather interesting. Of course, I know he's been sparring with Gary Mason as of late, but also brought this big guy Evans in to spar a few rounds with him.
Yeah, Lewis's people bring a lot of big, strong work for him up there. He's working up to the Concord in upstate New York, and they always run a very solid camp for him. Get him a lot of good rounds, heavyweight sparring.
And certainly that would bode quite well for Evans if he's going to go spar with the champion coming in here against Stewart as well.
But a little of that experience can be very valuable, but oftentimes when you spend a lot of time in those camps, you end up just, you know, you get to go 3 rounds a day with the champ, and that's all you get thinking about your responsibilities are. And if you want to be a main event fighter, you've got to do more.
Well, Stewart and Evans, main event, closing in on the end of the 4th round. Both fighters starting to see the effects of this heat a little bit more as Evans really started to slump to his stool down to our right in that blue corner, and Stewart not doing much better across the ring as both of them, you can see him really trying to soak him down. This is Evans. Al Rodriguez. By the way, they are not pumping the water from the Colorado River for these guys, but they'll probably use about that much before the day's over. Try to put that liquid back into them because they're losing a ton right now.
But don't be grabbing this guy. It's taking energy. Now don't grab him. Let him grab.
It's George Benton outside the ropes.
George is telling him, don't grab him, let him grab. You're using energy, which is right. You can't wrestle with a guy like Tyrone Evans, or, I mean, it's not doing you much good. You want to...
George Benton along with Al Gavin. What a pair in the corner for Alex Stewart. They've got their man heading for the 5th round. This is round 5 as you take an overview look of our Corona Extra Ring here in Laughlin, Nevada at the beautiful Flamingo Hotel, Hilton Hotel. And our heavyweight explosion in our main event for the afternoon, Alex Stewart. Wrestling in there with Ty Evans. Evans again, the massive man out of Kent, Ohio. Out of the ring since April of '93. Said he tried to stay in the gym as much as he could, but again, not afforded a lot of opportunity to devote to his boxing, as I alluded to as well. A great family, couple of giant-size inside linebackers as his 2 sons, and his daughter, by the way, is 5'7" and plays volleyball in high school. So a very busy schedule for he and his wife.
Yeah, his family is very important to him. Talking to him before, and that's great because there's no substitute for spending time with him.
Let's go, gentlemen. Box.
Alex Stewart probably got a little notoriety, and again, we alluded to the fact that you don't probably get a lot of it as a sparring partner, but he actually started out in his younger days as a pro, as a sparring partner for a former champion, and Michael Spinks. People started to take a little notice that he had a pretty good heavy hand, and obviously when he started mounting all of those knockouts back-to-back, they said, yep, we got to agree that he does.
And as we talked about earlier in the show, he had the benefit of regular work at the Madison Square Garden, was running 2 shows a month out of the felt form, and Alex was, you know, not only getting great exposure in the, you know, in the media capital of the world of New York City, but regular work and developmental fights, and you know, that was all very, very important to the, you know, the base of the foundation. And there he really looped that right hand and hurt Evans with it.
Evans in trouble as he swoops back to the corner, fell off balance into the ropes. Toby Gibson looking on carefully. Evans just tries to muscle him way out of the corner there. But he has been clearly hurt by that overhand right by Alex Stewart. Stewart again throws it through the left hand that time as Evans tries to just muscle and hold his way out of there, but not throwing any punches. Stewart again trying to go to work in round number 5. Can he get his 34th knockout and his 34th victory? Does Evans go down? Well, the big fella's not down yet.
Evans he's at a distinct disadvantage because he can't really fight on the inside, and Alex won't let him sit there and work on the outside. He works his way in, and then he does the damage, and that looping right hand is the one that really hurt Evans, and that in a combination of, the experience of Alex Stewart is looking to finish this fight.
They're in the exact same corner that our first fight of the afternoon, the Gary Mason fight, ended, with Mason taking the measure of Martin Foster, and that's exactly what Stewart's trying to do as we near the end of round 5. You could be very close to calling that last round almost a 10-8. You'll give it a 10-9 certainly with no knockdown, but it was that convincing by Alex Stewart as he really took the measure to the big guy Evans. And Ty really trying to right himself while Alex Stewart on the other side trying to cool down as much as he can, but he really got Evans in a lot of trouble here.
And there it is, that looping overhand right. Although Evans blocks that a few times, it's landing, and there really did come close to when the ropes keep you up like that, it really is grounds for a standing 8 count, but Toby Gibson didn't think so, and Toby always does a great job. I'll never second guess him.
Evans did, of course, just as Stewart got on top of him, held and clinched, and then worked his way out of the corner by holding and using his strength. And now Alex Stewart gets ready to try to do something more here as we head for the 6th round. George Benton trying to coach his man Alex Stewart out of trying to wrestle and grapple a bit here with Tyrone Evans. He said it's too hot to do that. Let's just fight and get this thing over with. That's exactly what Alex Stewart will try to do against Ty Evans here in round number 6. Even Toby Gibson trying to keep him from clinching up. And Evans clearly is trying to find somewhere to get that second breath of air.
You know, when he's been into the 6th round before, Tyrone Evans, but he's never been any further than that. And taking this fight on the short notice that he did and coming down to here in the heat, he really is. But he's trying to fight back.
6th round, only 3 times in his entire career. Of course, only 9 professional fights, this being number 10. And, of course, the last one coming 17 months ago in April of 93.
Give him up, Alex. Let's go. Get him up.
Stewart's got to be pretty comfortable here, Bob, with what's going on. He, as they call time for a moment, and apparently got some tape problems on the glove of Evans. But, again, Stewart has to be pretty comfortable with what's going on. He's able to throw the punches he's needed to throw. He stayed away from harm's way for the most part and just generally working his fight.
He really is. He's gotten out of the danger zone with Evans. I mean, a big, strong guy like this, you got to give him a lot of respect, especially early in the fight. But now he's gassed, and Alex is feeling pretty confident. He's in control of this fight.
They're still waiting. You see Alex Stewart waiting patiently in the neutral corners. They've got the glove retaped on the left hand of Evans. Evans almost as Stewart came in. Evans kind of took a little sigh, wanting Stewart to come inside on him. Stewart did not. He took a couple of punches and backed away.
Alex working nicely downstairs. He's given what he's taken what Tyrone's given him here, which is the advice that Georgie Benton been giving him in the corner. He doesn't want him in there wrestling. He wants him in there working. And don't let Tyrone, lay in there and rest, because that's what he's looking to do at this juncture of the fight.
Alex Stewart, who has said that it looks like Lewis, Moyer, and also Riddick Bowe, the top 3 that he would certainly be looking at. And getting an opportunity somewhere on the way. Of course, Bowe does not hold the title any longer, but the other 2 do. And he would certainly like to have a shot at the title somewhere along the way. And you got to figure as he goes right to work on Evans here. Evans, like a falling sequoia, is on his way down, but he holds himself up somehow, grasping onto Stewart. And now Toby Gibson's going to stop it. Al Rodriguez was up on the apron in the corner, and Toby Gibson, who was heading that way to stop the fight. And again, the corner of Al Rodriguez said, that's it, the fight is over, and they wisely stop it here in the 6th round. So a big afternoon by Alex Stewart again as he gets a knockout. And again, yes, 34 wins, 34 by knockout by Alex Stewart over the tree of a man in Tyrone Evans. As both Stewart and Evans, that's Al Gavin tiling down. Alex Stewart Also a very quiet, very likable man, very much the same as certainly the other Brit that is on the card, Gary Mason. Mason, of course, the more talkative of the two. He does have a gift of gab, that's for sure, but Alex can hold his own with the best. And he did today as he steps into the ring and now has certainly put another chapter in that climb towards a chance for a title as he went to work on Evans and did the number he needed to do here in the 6th. Let's get the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 1 minute, 56 seconds of the 6th round. Due to the corner stopping the bout, referee Toby Gibson calls a halt. The winner by a TKO is Alex Stewart.
Alex Stewart, born in London, England. With his family as a teen, went to Jamaica where he fought for that country in the 1984 Olympic Games, going all the way to the quarterfinals, winning the New York Golden Gloves in 85 and 86. Since that time, 34-5 as a pro, 44 by knockouts, including this one today against Evans. And again, an accumulation of punches. You can see the right hand was the big weapon. A left and a right both really got Evans on his way down. Had Stewart not been there, Evans was face first. He held himself up, and finally, out of your picture now, Al Rodriguez is standing on the apron and employing you saw the referee, Toby Gibson, look to the corner. He was probably close to stopping it, but when Rodriguez went up on the apron and said, that's it, let's stop the fight, he working in the corner with Evans, the fight was officially stopped here in the 6th round. Well, Alex Stewart has tried to catch his breath and also to cool down a bit, and he's up with our man. Here is Bob Spagnola.
Alex Stewart, after a nice stoppage of a big, strong man, how do you feel?
Feel relieved. I felt that I had to throw it all out in the next round or it was all over. So I went for it, broke, and saw him hurt. Let's put it on.
Yeah, he was a big, strong guy, and I saw Georgie in the corner telling you take what he gives you, and you were doing that real well, working the body and then looping that right hand over the top and it got him going.
Well, I was a little bit hasty. I should have worked the body more, but I kept him feeling a shot for the head, kept on looping over his head. And I was hurting him a few times, but he was a big guy, kept on holding me, pushing my head down.
I mean, a huge, strong guy, and you had no way of knowing what you were. I mean, it was the first time you saw him was at Bell 1, so, I mean, it was some tough things about it. You had everything to lose and nothing to gain. You had a good performance.
Well, at first I thought I was going to come in and just rush him and knock him out. But when I hit him with a couple of good shots, I saw he's pretty decent. Then he caught me on top of the head, and I was a little bouncy. And George told me, just take your time. This guy will go.
Real good performance. Jim, I'm going to bring his manager, Jim Fennell, in. What's next? What are you guys looking for?
Co-manager with Lou Duva. There's a lot cooking right now, Bobby. We haven't got anything specifically pinned down, but Alex is an item right now. He's in demand. We're going to pick our spot. Alex is going to be very, very busy. We're going to move him towards a title shot. We expect to fight sometime in October, November.
It's just what the doctor ordered for you guys. You're having time working with Georgie Bent now, having some good, solid fights to have these two develop together and bond for the title shot forthcoming. Congratulations, and look forward to seeing you again.
It keeps knocking on the door, Mason. Do you think one day it's going to open for him and he's going to get another shot at a title?
He will get possibly a elimination shot type fight, because in just watching that fight, I think a realistic match could well be me and Stewart at some point down the line. It doesn't look unrealistic, and the winner then goes on for a shot. And if that is the case, Lewis will be, I mean, he would have knocked at the door again and fallen over.
That would be a good fight between you and him, wouldn't it?
Yes, a very good fight, a very genuine fight. You'd see the styles there, and obviously you know that in America they like bang, action, you know?
But for either of the fighters that won that fight, you would then be in a healthy rating situation and then able to claim the world title shot.
Yes, genuinely, yes, yeah. Because the two, you know, in the heavyweight division at the moment, or in boxing division, there are more champions than there are challengers. And the people out there are getting disorientated because of the amount of champions, and they need credible challengers. And the only person in the heavyweight division with a better record than mine at the moment is Michael Moore, and that's because he's unbeaten.
One final point about Stewart, he does still claim to fight under the British flag, and that makes a healthy British cross-section of fighters looking and knocking on the door at world level. After the break, we start to piece together the events of this dramatic week at world title level. We'll hear from Oliver McCall, Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno, and we'll ask who will profit from a week when we were reminded that in boxing, you never really know.
You're watching Sky Sports.